Hey divas, hey divas, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me now. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, good. Teresa said she can hear me. Okay, everybody can hear me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on with StreamYard. StreamYard would not let me um log in. But hey, divas, welcome to Pink Table Topics. I'm your host and your good sis, Pink Diva. Thank you so much for joining me. As you're pulling your seat up to the table, don't forget to hit the like button for me. Feel free to drop down, leave a comment, and engage with the topic. And turn your bell notifications on so that you'll be notified each and every time I drop a new topic. And as you know, our mission is to create a safe space for women to gather as a community, engage in healthy dialogue regarding real life issues that we as women deal with on a daily basis, but most importantly, to foster the true meaning of sisterhood. And if you are here, that means you are subscribed and representing the Diva tribe, and not just any diva. We are divine, we are inspiring, we are valiant, and we are admirable. Welcome to the table, divas. Our motivational quote of the day, you know, we have to start with that, is stand for something or you will fall for anything. Stand for something or you will fall for anything. And you know, I have to be courteous when you come to my house. So let me go around the table and do my Divas roll call. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining me. I missed you all last Tuesday, but I was so super busy. I was speaking to some of you, and I know I told sis my daughters tend to think that I'm one of their little girlfriends. And they always want to pull me in on their little activities. So that's why I had to reschedule last Tuesday, because that was my daughter's actual birthday. We gave her a surprise birthday party on that Saturday, but that Tuesday was her actual birthday day. And I actually thought that she was going to be hanging with some of her little friends or either her husband on the day of her birthday, but she wasn't. But anyway, hey sis, my diva Teresa is in the house. Hey diva, thanks so much for pulling up and modding for me. Hey daughter of Israel, thank you diva for being here. I appreciate you, my sis, and my diva over here. Hey sis, thank you so much for being here and so much for modding for me. You know I appreciate me some you. Hey Mama V, how are you sis? Thank you so much for joining. Real Talk with Grace and Mercy is in the house. Hey, Diva. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Linda Gambo. Thank you so much for being here, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me see who else. Who else is in the house? Hey, Angela Richardson. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you. Who is it? Mama B. I got her. Hey, Reen. Reen is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us. Deborah Jackson is in the house. Hey, Diva. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, Irene. Thank you so much for pulling up to the table today. CC is in the house. Hey, Diva. Thank you so much. Hey, Red and thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you all for being here. Hey, Rose. Rose is in the house. Thank you so much for joining. Teresa Wright says motivational word of the day is stand for something or you will fall for anything. Yes, Diva. Yes. Hey, Betty. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Hello to everybody that's coming. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in. I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate your patience. StreamYard was acting really weird. It kept not wanting me to connect, or it would I would connect and then for whatever reason it would kick me out. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I'm on this MacBook. You know, for all of you all that have those Apple products, this MacBook has been giving me issues. I'm going back to XP, so y'all can have these MacBooks. So, but how is everybody doing? Did everybody have a good day? I don't know about you all, but the month of October, look at sis talking my child back. Girl, it's this whole MacBook. I tell you. Uh, did everybody have a good day? I don't know about you all, but this week has been kicking my butt. The month of October is always super, super busy for me at my 9 to 5. It is so busy. It's not only are we doing quarter end close, we're also doing, preparing for year end close. So it's super, super busy, super busy. Hey D, thank you so much for joining. How you doing today? Thank you, thank you. And I know Sis and I we talked earlier and talked about how busy our work schedule has been thus far for the month of October. So it's been super, super busy, super busy. Teresa said, "Blame it on the Mac." Absolutely, sis. We're blaming it on the Mac. Daughter of Israel said, "My day was good. Thanks for asking." That's good, sis. So glad you had a good day. It was a good day for me as well. Hey, Tia P. Thanks for joining, sis. It was a good day for me as well, but it was just super busy. And it was so busy, I feel like I've been so unproductive. Um, I just feel like it's just been a very unproductive day, work wise, but I know I was working. So it was super busy, but nonetheless, we are here. Some of us was over on Sis's live earlier for her power hour. So that was a good live too, sis. Cece said, "I can appreciate the busy work schedule. My fiscal year started October 1st." So you understand. Very, very busy. Look at sis talking about some gone somewhere, Teresa. I know that's right, Betty. My laptop of choice is HP. Absolutely. Any day. MacBook ain't it for me either, sis. They can have that MacBook. You hear me? But how y'all doing? How y'all doing? We are going to, our topic is, do the men get a pass? And it's, I wanted to have this discussion last week, and I feel like so many other hot topics have um come up since last Tuesday. It's been so much going on social media to talk about, but we're going to get this topic out of the way, and we're going to talk about this topic because I feel like it's a needed conversation. Teresa said, "Chit chat, I'm Team Apple. I tried to make our sis feel better." I don't need you to try to make me feel better about no Apple product on not nair day, sis. You ain't never got to try to make me feel good about no Apple product. I am a team Android all day long, all day, every day, as they say. All day. So keep your little tomatoes, Teresa. I am Android all day. I am unapologetically Android all day, every day. All day. Daughter of Israel say they get too many passes, and now here we are dealing with the residue of their pass. Absolutely. Hey, Brittany. LaDawn is in the house. Hey, sis. Thanks for joining. Teresa, you say those apples will keep them apples. That's right, Irene. Irene say, "I got your back." Yes, that's right. We team droid over here, Irene. We ain't never scared. We ain't never scared. So let's get into the topic. Let's get into the topic. We are talking about, do the men get a pass? Do the men get a pass? So, as you see, I use the image of Moses and Martell because these two have been the hot topics for quite a while now. But we all know this discussion goes well beyond just these two. So while listening in on some of the conversations around social media surrounding the whole Destiny, Sonny, and Moses triangle, as well as Mel and Martell, I saw where a lot of people were speaking more on what the women did or didn't do, or what the women should or shouldn't have done. But somewhere along the lines, the men, Moses, Martell, and men like them, got lost in the mix. And I get there are a lot of moving pieces to why relationships may end. But my question is, why does it seem like the men always get a pass? Why aren't we discussing the role the man played in causing the division in the relationship? Why do we just view their actions as being, oh, it's a man thing? That's just how they are, or we should just expect them to behave that way. But the woman should automatically know better and do better. Why don't we hold these men accountable for their actions? Why is there more heat for the woman? Can somebody answer that for me? Because I'm confused. I've seen all over social media how, women are being torn down because of the decisions the man made. Like, why? And most importantly, why is it that we as other women tend to put more blame in the lap of the woman? Why aren't we discussing the role the man played? Why is it just the woman? I just really want to know, like, if we talk about the shenanigans surrounding Moses and Sonny, why are we putting more of the responsibility on Sonny than we are to Moses? And in my opinion, Moses was in the relationship with Sonny, with Destiny. So why didn't he properly close that chapter with her? Why didn't Moses reach out to Destiny and say, listen, I just want to give you a heads up and let you know that I'm seeing somebody, and that somebody is Sonny. And let's say, even if he didn't go into details about who he was seeing, close the chapter and deal with the chips how they may fall. But why did Sonny feel like it was her responsibility to reach out to Destiny? Why did Moses even allow Sonny to take the lead on that conversation? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not by any means excusing Sonny for the role she played and how she and Moses connected. I get that she and Destiny had a co-working relationship or whatever they were calling it. But we're not going to focus on that part because I feel like Sonny has been ridiculed enough. So I want to focus on the men. Why aren't there any discussions on Moses and his lack of making sure all those doors were closed with Destiny because he was in a relationship with her? Why do we as women tend to point our fingers more at the woman? I'm confused. Let me go up and read some comments. Let me see. Let me see. Why do we tend to point the finger more at the woman? Y'all talk about them iPhones. Gone away from here with that, sis. Hey, Aunt Debbie. Look at Aunt Debbie. Hey, Aunt Debbie. Thank you so much for being here. Aunt Debbie is in the house. I hope you're feeling well, Aunt Debbie. Aunt Debbie, I had you a mod stick. Let me see. I don't know why your mod stick isn't there either, Aunt Debbie. Let me see if I can do it while we're here. Aunt Debbie, I had her listed as a mod, but it's not showing. I'll work on it and get it up there, Aunt Debbie. Teresa said, it's so sad that women do that. And it's an interesting question. It is. It's really sad. And Dee said, because the world is male dominated, whether they are right or wrong. Just look at what's going on in our elections now. Great, great point. Great point. Hey, Bama girl. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much. Hey, Lady Sweetness. Thanks for joining, sis. Thank you so much. Yes, my sis said, thank you, Divas, for pulling up to the table. Please hit the like button, click the notification bell, and share the video with your friends. Thanks, sis. Yes, yes, yes. MD Hill, hey, sis. Thanks for joining. She said, Sonny didn't make Moses to handle his scandal. That's very true. She should have, but she definitely did not. Teresa said women tend to take the stronger role. I agree. I agree. Red Ann said, because if they point the finger at the man, the woman is afraid she may lose him. Great point, Red Ann. Rose said, I really, Sonny likes taking the lead. You think Sonny likes taking the lead? I agree. I agree. Teresa said, that's because there's so many mama boys. Yes. It's definitely a lot of mama boys out there for sure, for sure. Angela Richardson said, I believe he moved on when he got married. That's it. That's all. Nothing more needed to be said. That's his own. That is his only. That's only my opinion. Destiny should have just moved on. That's very true. Very true. Destiny definitely should have just moved on. Very true. Let me see if I missed a comment. Let me see. Let me see. I agree. Okay, I think I have everybody. But that was always just one of my questions, though. I was just trying to wrap my mind around why is it that we as women, and it just seemed like it just comes more from us as women. We tend to point our finger at the other woman, even when we look at the demise of Mel and Martell's marriage, or if we look at Drew and Ralph from the housewives. Why do we focus more on what the woman should have done to keep the man instead of what the man should have done to keep his family together? I feel like we give the men passes far too often and spend more energy on the woman and blaming her for what her spouse or her significant other did to cause the breakdown of the relationship. We've seen Sonny come out on multiple occasions explaining herself and her marriage to Moses. But the one thing we haven't seen is Moses coming out and not one time come out and say and explain the situation. And I would have personally loved to have seen Moses come out and say, listen, Sonny and I ran into each other at a gathering for a mutual friend. We ended up conversing and found out we had a lot in common. We went on a couple of dates and decided to make it official. So, contrary to what y'all may think or believe, she's my wife. I love her and I'm sticking beside her, period. And if I were Sonny, I wouldn't have mumbled a word. You wouldn't have caught me out here trying to explain my timeline on when we got together. I wouldn't have come on that show to give Destiny no airtime to discuss my relationship. And me and my husband would have been right there in St. Louis living our best life. That's it, that's all. And I wouldn't have explained anything. However, I get it's a reality show, so we really don't know what Destiny or Moses said to each other behind the scenes. We don't know how that relationship ended. It could just be a situation to where Destiny may be, one of those chicks who just feel like, somebody owes her something, or feel like, sometimes you have women who feel like, I don't care about you moving on, but just don't move on to that person. They get intimidated by a certain person or a certain caliber of woman or something. And, they feel like, I don't care, you could have moved on to anybody, but not this person, right? So I just feel like, that's where Destiny was, because I'm really questioning if they really were in uh a relationship when Sonny and Moses got together. So I'm really questioning if they were actually in a relationship or not. Let me read some comments. Hey, TNTG Mom, thanks for joining. How are you? Thanks for being here. Teresa said, women always feel like they have to defend the men and protect them. Now, when we need their vote for Kamala, we have to beg. Absolutely. I totally agree. MD Hill said Sonny wanted to play the cleanup woman because she was protecting her image too, because she knew things weren't handled. That's a great point. That's a great point. I totally agree. Sis said sad but true. Sis said Sonny did more than explain. She was slang child. She was slanging and banging. You hear me? She was slanging and banging. Irene said exactly. Destiny admitted in her live she lied and her and Moses had been ended over a year. Oh, okay. So that explains I definitely would not have given her any airtime on this show. Hey Rashida, thanks for joining. How you doing? How you doing? Sis said, who do we blame for coming out, Sonny or Moses? I blame both. Absolutely. I blame both because I personally feel like neither one of them should have attended that podcast in Huntsville. Um, and you would think with Sonny being a producer of the show, you would have thought she knew more of what to expect. So I definitely would not have. And in order for there to be a scene with Moses and Sonny on the show, they both had to agree to being there. So I feel like it was both their fault for agreeing to even do the show. I would not have, and a lot of us we like to blame Carlos King for the mess or what have you. But had it not been for Sonny and Moses agreeing to film the show, Destiny would not have had a storyline. And so I feel like they should not have even come to the show. Teresa said, I think that women feel if they can get to the woman, it will end the cheating. If the woman don't accept him, it won't happen in their mind. So go after the woman. What would the man do? Hmm. Great point, sis. Great point. Teresa said, if the wife is cheating, do the man approach the woman or the man? Listen, we already know that's a double standard when it comes to the men versus the women cheating. We know that they cannot take what they dish out. Hey DG, thanks for joining, sis. How are you doing? Thanks for being here. Sis said that's not true because Moses said he was mad Destiny missed his birthday. That was in April. That's true. And I think that's where the lines got blurred. I think the lines got blurred when they start talking timelines. And, because I remember in one of the episodes or one of the scenes, Destiny was actually asking, when did Moses and Sonny start dating? And, because we were still dating this month versus that month. I never would have went through that with her. I never would have given her a timeline because at this point, if I'm out here slanging and banging saying I got the ring, he's my man, I'm not about to go down no timeline with you. We're not talking about no timeline. I wouldn't give her that. Philly girl for life. Hey, sis, thanks for being here. She said Destiny said in her recent video that she ended things with Moses a year before he and Sonny got together. I think he was done with Destiny and nothing else needed to be said. And that's the thing. It's a lot of scenarios being left out on the episodes that we're seeing, which is why I feel like Sonny maybe came out and started explaining stuff a little bit too soon. I would have just sat back and let things play out and let the cards fall as they may. I would not have come out speaking on it. And I feel like she spoke a little too soon. Irene said, if it's not true, Destiny told the lie. She said it was made up for TV. Oh, okay. When did Destiny do a live? I don't follow Destiny, so I never see her stuff. Angela said a lot could be said without saying anything. A person's behavior can say a lot, and Moses's behavior said a whole lot. Destiny made too much of it. That was her storyline. I agree. It was definitely her storyline. MD Hill said men like to use the new woman as their pit bull to do their dirty work. Women need to refuse to engage in catfights. That's absolutely correct. But if it's somebody like the bird, right? We know she's coming out slanging and banging, right? Sis said, agreed. They should have never addressed. Absolutely. They never should have addressed Destiny. Teresa said, but in Destiny's live last night, she said she hadn't talked to Moses in a year. She said when she sat down with him, she lied. So is it reality TV or is it scripted TV? Huh? So are they all actors like Martell said? DG said, I would not have made my new marriage anybody's storyline once they start. I totally agree. I would not either. D said, and spoke too much. Yes, she did. She definitely did. Irene said she did a video in the bed the other day and a content creator was showing it. Oh, okay. Okay, so she went live, huh? DG said once they started talking about a timeline, I would have been saying my business grows such and such last month and switched the topic every time. I would have too. I think there were ways that you could have switched the topic. Hey, Square Biz, how you doing, sis? Thanks for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Teresa said she sat down with Moses. She hadn't spoke to him in a year. Okay. Hey, Eve to Leo. Thanks for joining, sis. Thanks for being here. She said, being that Carlos had a hand in the mess, I'm sure a lot was exaggerated. I think we're seeing a lot of this show out on the show, and we can not even just on the show, just on social media. And it just seemed like there are a lot of missing pieces going on. Red Ann said they're all liars except Mel, right? Right, Red Ann. Yes, sis. Thank you so much. Y'all, please hit the like button for me. Feel free to share the video. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Cece said, I think Carlos set up Moses and Sonny by introducing them at his podcast. It didn't go over well. Sonny's been in overdrive ever since, where Moses should have handled and calmed things down. I totally agree. I totally agree. Yes, Square Biz, I'm glad you were able to catch the live, sis. How you doing? Thank you so much for being here. I definitely appreciate it. And then, and even I know we're talking about the whole Destiny and Sonny and Moses, but even when we look at the Mel and Martell situation, when we look at how many women have come out and bashed her for her husband's poor choices, look at how much she's been ripped to shreds because her husband decided to have an affair for multiple years. Why is she being blamed? I have read so many comments and seen so many responses and videos across social media, Facebook, YouTube, and so many people pick this lady apart and are really blaming her. Like, why are so many women saying that she should have made sure she was taking care of her man? She should have made sure her man was satisfied. She shouldn't have been out working so much trying to build a legacy for her children. So basically, she should have just been a stay-at-home mama, being barefoot and pregnant every 9 months, bearing his children, while he just get to run around throwing his moose knuckle from one side of the city to the next. Like, how dare she force her man to go out there and get another woman pregnant? So it's her fault, right? It's all her fault. So the men aren't to blame for any of this, right? It's not the man's fault. We're going to deep dive into why it's more the women's fault than it is the men's fault. So they get to just walk around and just sit up and let the woman continue to be blamed for their indiscretions, but nobody's talking about the men. Nobody is talking about the role they played. Like, the men aren't being blamed for any of this. So I'm just baffled at how nobody tend to hold the men accountable for their actions. We really need to stop justifying the bad behaviors in these men, because that's why they feel nothing is wrong with what they're doing. We are better than that. I'm not going to shame another woman for the actions of her no good man. You know, if the shoe was on the other foot, we just talked about this, they wouldn't be able to take what they dish out. Look at Martell and his actions right now, today, almost 4 years after being divorced. He is spiraling out of control. You know why? Because nobody held him accountable. He was out here thinking this whole time he was this high value man, and Mel should have stayed in that relationship and dealt with all the disrespect and the trauma that he was constantly spewing toward her, constantly had his bird attacking her. Why don't we hold them accountable? I mean, every time you turn around, he has somebody coming for this lady. And we're not going to talk about the cast and how none of them held Martell accountable. It was always, well, what did she do? Or what did she say? Or I can look at her and understand why he would have cheated. I see where he was coming from, but nobody ever took a stance and was able to relate with her, the woman, what she was going through, and calling him to the side. And even with Moses, like, how many men pull him to the side on the show, if we want to focus on the show, and say, man, look, did you properly close the relationship? You know, did you tell her it was over before you moved on? Or, you know, Martell, you have a beautiful family, you have a wife and 3 kids at the time. You know, why would you allow somebody else to come between, you know, what you've built? If it's something that's not going right in the relationship, when are we going to start holding the men accountable to, like, if something is broken, let's work together to try to fix it, right? Why are we just chopping it up and say, okay, let me just go out here and have an affair, right? And we know Martell is not working with all of his marbles. We know that. We know he's not logical in his ways of thinking. We get that, but he still don't get a pass, right? So I'm confused at why do we continue to beat the woman down and hold her accountable for the indiscretions as the man? Like, we do that far too often, and not even just on these TV shows. And I get this, these TV shows are entertainment. There are so many life situations that go on these shows that we can pull and be able to have topics and conversations like this, which is why we're having this conversation. But this is like real life stuff. And we know the things that we've seen Mel experience is a real life situation. She really did go through a divorce. Her husband really did father a kid by his side chick. His side chick really did come out here on social media and, going against the wife as if Mel cheated with her husband. So all of those things really did happen, but these situations happen far too often. And just even in some of our lives and some of the people that we have been connected to, or just close enough to be able to see situations like this play out in real life. Women, for whatever reason, will not hold the man accountable. For whatever reason, our fault always immediately goes into the woman and what she should have been focusing on to make sure her man does not go out here and cheat. And I don't feel like, as a woman, there is absolutely nothing we can do to keep a man from cheating. That is a conscious decision that he himself decides to make. He wakes up whenever, choose to say, okay, today I'm going to go out and cheat. I'm going to have this relationship. And I know I'm a whole married man. I have a wife at home. I have children at home. We have this legacy we're building. We have these businesses together. But because I am who I am, I'm still going to decide, I'm still going to make the decision to go out here and cheat on my wife. My wife did not tell me that, because there's no way that me as a woman, I can go out and cheat on my husband and then think people aren't going to ridicule me, because we're going to get it both ways. Whether you are the cheater or the one that's being cheated on, it's always going to be something the woman did or did not do. Why is it that we as women always get the blame for everything? Why? I don't care how good we are. I don't care what we do. I don't care. We can run his bath water, have his clothes ironed. We can cook his food, make sure the home is kept, make sure we're going to work. We can be supportive. We can be all the things. And if that Negro still decides that he wants to make the decision to cheat, he's going to cheat. There is nothing that you can say that, oh, she didn't do this. You know good and well if you are a good wife or not. You can be all the things. I can go to work. I can make sure that I am also providing and helping make ends meet in the household, cooking, cleaning, raising the kids, taking the kids to school, doing their homework. You can do all of that stuff. You can be a good woman and he'll still cheat if he want to. There is absolutely nothing you can do to stop him from cheating. It's all a conscious decision. It's all a decision that he chose to make. It's a choice. They don't have to cheat. They choose to cheat. So there's nothing you can do to make him not cheat. Let me read some let me read some comments. DG says she drugged Sonny all over every platform she could get on. Now she want to say it was a lie and for her storyline, which we knew she didn't have a storyline. That's very true. Real Talk with Grace and Mercy said, yes, all actors except Mel. Absolutely. I totally agree. Mel has been the one, in my opinion, the one who has really displayed her real life and what she has experienced on the surface. Everybody else has definitely been actors, in my opinion. Irene said, I've been saying Destiny is a street girl, and that's what she was. I live in St. Louis. You can definitely tell she's from the streets. Square Beard said, busy week, miss Chit Chats Live. Yes, we missed seeing you over there, sis. Teresa said, why do Trish and Ken get a pass? You know what? Girl, I don't really care for Trish and Ken. I don't really care for their storyline. They don't get a pass though, because I feel like it's super weird that she's still a whole married woman living with her side dude, And she still has a husband, and the thing is, I haven't even seen a lot of emphasis on that. So how is it that we can put all of this emphasis on someone Destiny used to date, that Sonny is now married to, but we're not addressing the whole elephant in the room, which is Trish being a whole married woman, regardless of how many years they've been separated. On paper, you're still a whole married woman. Red Ann said, I think Carlos will use anyone to help Martell or whoever is on his side, even if it's Sonny and Moses. I totally agree. I totally agree. Hey, Cricket. Thanks for joining. How you doing today, sis? Teresa said, not moose knuckle. Yes, moose knuckle, honey. The whole moose knuckle all over Huntsville. D said, if Mel didn't work, they wouldn't eat. Absolutely. I totally agree. DG said, not to mention, Mel said repeatedly she left Martell before she knew Slaw was pregnant. She did say that, and for whatever reason, I don't know why people tend to feel like they forgot that part, that she actually left before. But when a person dislike you, they will find every reason to continue disliking you. You can tell the truth in their face and they'll still say it was a lie because they don't like you. And I think a lot of them don't even really rock with Martell like that. It's just that their disdain for Mel overshadows everything that Martell could do. So that's how I feel. Eve said, I'm so sick of the double standards. You and I both, sis. Brittany Janae said half of those women bashing Mel are pick-me's that never been picked. Plus, they ain't got no edges. Girl, not no edges, sis. Brittany said they ain't got no edges, child. Square Beard said, so let me get this. Is Carlos King aware of the slip from Destiny, or he was into her using this as a storyline? I'm quite sure Carlos knows more than he leads us to think he knows. I'm quite sure he was working behind the scenes to try to help revive Destiny's storyline. And I feel like he knew that the Scots weren't really giving anything as far as a storyline. And I feel like Carlos likes drama, and he felt like this would bring some drama to the show. Teresa said, child, if Mel didn't work, they would have been eating popsicles too. No way she could depend on. Right, sis. Popsicles all day, every day. MD Hill said, patriarchy thinking fuels tons of relationship. Look at the Scots. I totally agree. I agree, sis. D said Mel and Martell's marriage was doomed when it started because of who Martell is. He was and is jealous of Mel. He cheated to humble and break her, but he's the one that's broke. You know what? That's a great, great point, D. That's a great point. I feel like Martell recognized who Mel was when he met her in their college years. He knew she was a boss back then. He knew that she was going to be something. So he wanted to connect himself to her, knowing that he was less than. He knew that he couldn't be the man that she needed him to be. But us, typical woman, right? Typical woman, we tend to think sometimes we can build a Negro, and we tend that if I help him and shine him up real good, hence the reason why she got him shaved up real good, got him them new teeths. Yes, teeths. Got him them new teeths and fixed him up and dressed him up real good and brought him along with her to her speaking engagements and stuff while he was over there holding his bag and watching the kids off over to the sidelines. She felt like she could put him in rooms, the rooms that she was in, and that would fix him up. But he is who he is. Martell is who he is, and he's going to be who he's going to be. D said Tisha still saying that yes, she still is. She's still saying it. Red Ann said none of the men on the show can give a dog direction at all. At all. Daughter of Israel said the problem is many of the men want correct other men, especially if they are cheating too. And I know that's part of the reason why the Scots have not held Martell accountable, is because he know where the bones are buried. He know if they dare have the audacity to try to put him on Front Street on this show, he's going to let it all out. And I actually wish he would. I really wish Martell would stop threatening that he know where the bones are buried, and just tell it. I mean, if we want some action on the show, if we want some mess on the show, let Martell tell what he know, right? Teresa said, what men on the show? You got Marceau, who is a cheater, allegedly. Maurice with a DWI. Ken is cheating. Chris, a reformed cheater. What man? I agree, sis. The pickings are very slim. The pickings are very slim. Sis said, good old boys club. They almost never hold themselves accountable. You're right, sis. They don't hold themselves accountable, because if I feel like if I call you out, you're gonna call me out. And how dare we look that way to the women in our lives, right? Philly girl said, while we as women wish Moses spoke up about the relationship with Sonny, I don't think most men would have acted any different, in my opinion. I agree. I don't think they would either. Look at Martell. And not just on the show, just some in, in real life. Like I've said multiple times, I got a whole brother that had a living girlfriend for 13 years and had multiple women just throughout the years. And the level of disrespect was just horrendous in my eyes. And they never hold themselves accountable, and they do all them things, but the minute you decide that, okay, enough is enough and I'm walking away and I'm done with the relationship, then all of a sudden now, I want to fix my family, I want to change, I'm sorry, let's work it out, right? Red Ann said, I left my ex-husband and I had 4 kids and my youngest was 4 months. Kudos to you for choosing yourself, sis. And and it's so funny. That's the first thing they say, because we saw Mel say it to Martell, who's going to want you with 4 kids? And I don't even understand why they at that point feel like my thought process is about who's going to want me with 4 kids. My thought process at that point is trying to get out of this dead end relationship that's not going anywhere, trying to get out of the relationship with this man who I feel like it does not have my best interest at heart. I'm not thinking about who's going to want me with 4 kids. I'm trying to figure out, what my next steps are. How am I going to survive with these 4 kids? Because therefore, I need to make sure I keep my money up. I need to keep a roof over our head. I need to have money so that I can feed my kids and work on trying to leave a legacy for my children. I'm not concerned about who's going to want me at that moment, because trust and believe, you can have 6, 7, 8, or 9 kids, and a man who wants you will want you. It has nothing to do with the number of kids you have. I mean, look at Russell Wilson, right? People said nobody would want Sierra. Look at him, and I feel like he's one of the most hated men across the United States right now, because men really hate Russell Wilson because of how he actually stepped up. And it's so sad that other men hate to see men who really do love and respect us and treat us as the queens that we are. When they see other men treating us right, they tend to get intimidated, and now they want to down talk the man that want to uphold his queen and love on his queen properly, instead of just using us as a tool and just using us as something that you can just come in, do your business, and throw us to the side and get multiple women. None of us sign up in a marriage to say that I'm okay with you having multiple women, because where they do that at? Because if you want to go out here and cheat and have multiple women, do you give me that same pass? Do you give me that same pass? Are you saying that it's okay for me to go out and have multiple men? Is this, because I feel like if we're going to be equally yoked, we're going to be equally yoked. I feel like if you can do something, I should be able to do it too, right? That's how we rolling. You don't get to do anything that you feel like I can't do. Eve said, personal situations, I will call a man out in a minute. My god brother stopped talking to me because I do. Yeah, my brother the same way. He does not like when I hold him accountable, but I'm gonna ride with what's right. I support all of my women when you are right. I stand for women, I rock with women. I'm a girl's girl. I will hold you accountable when you're wrong. And I'm not going to do any different when it comes to the man. I'll hold them accountable as well. MD Hill said females, including moms, sisters, and aunties, need to hold their men relatives accountable. Marlene scolded Martell, but quickly turned against Mel. Very true. Very true. She was going to ride with her boy. Mama V said, I have four brothers and I'm taking my sister in law's side because I know how they are. I totally agree. Hey, Miss Wynn, thanks for joining, sis. How you doing? Hey, LaShonda, thanks for joining, sis. LaShonda said cheating has been normalized in society. It has. It has. Unfortunately, it has. MD Hill says definitely, but not when women do it. Right. You know, we are all kind of garden tools when we start to doing it. Of course, we can't do what men do. LaShonda said, yes, women are to ignore the bad behavior. I agree. D said Martell never really wanted coleslaw. He wanted to humiliate Mel into submission. Unfortunately, he hasn't stopped trying. Great, great thoughts. That's a great thought. He wanted to humiliate her into submission. I can see that. I can see that. But he went about it all the wrong way. He got himself right over there with coleslaw, right? Daughter of Israel said, that's right. It's a choice for sure. Has nothing to do with anyone else. It's all on the man and his choices. Absolutely. It's all his choices. D said, no one cares about Trish and Ken. They're not worth the energy with that foolishness. I agree. Do you all think that's made for TV, their situation? It's just something that comes off like very off for them to me. Like, I'm not even interested enough in them to really care about their storyline, but it just seems like it's so forced to me. Like, and I guess I can say that about all the relationships on that show. You don't see any intimacy between the relationships, and I'm not talking about bedroom intimacy, but I'm talking about you never see them embrace each other, and you never see them walking up and embracing and kissing each other when they walk in or out the rooms, or it's just so very like scripted and so standoffish to me when it comes to the relationship, the dynamics of the relationships on this particular show. Red Ann said, I remember Mel saying that Martell was accepting all kinds of work, then dumping it off on her. I felt he wanted to keep her so tired that she wouldn't have the energy to worry about what he was doing. Great point. Great point. I'm sure that's exactly what he was doing. He was gaslighting her into, I'm going to dump all of this work on you, but then in the other hand, I want to say, oh, you're working too much. You don't have time for the family. You need to let some of this stuff go. He's that type of person. Square Biz said the thing with Martell is that if it hadn't been for Coleslaw, it will have been someone else. Coleslaw was clingy as she was being taken care of in the best lifestyle she had ever had. um, I agree, sis. All the more reason why she didn't play her cards right. Because if you were being taken care of and you were being allowed this lifestyle that you never experienced before, why did you come out here chirping like the bird that you are, and you coming out here and outing yourself? You messed up your bag. If he was doing all of that stuff for her, and granted, I'm no side chick by far, but these side chicks have become some of the most bravest women that I have seen in a long time. Like, they really are stepping up and being proud about being a side chick. But there are some, and if we listen to what some people are alleging, the one that Marceau has been very quiet. She's played her role very well. You haven't heard her say anything. She hadn't come out and insinuated anything. She's sitting over there doing what she's doing while he's living his life out loud on this TV show. But then you have ones like Coleslaw that just didn't know her place, and she had to out herself. So she dropped the bag. LaShonda said women are mad that Melody exposed the infidelity. The couples wanted to keep their secrets behind closed doors. I agree. I feel like all of the couples experienced some sort of infidelity and they didn't want to talk about those secrets. But when Melody exposed hers, then they felt like the spotlight would be on them because, Martell is that person. If I'm being outed, everybody is going to be outed. But I'm glad Mel handled hers the way that she did because she was able to document, through this TV show. She was able to document everything that she actually experienced and everything that was going on. Because I feel like, even though she didn't document everything, we saw a lot. We saw a lot that she dealt with behind the scenes. And even with us going back over in Members Only on Sis's channel, even with us going back and revisiting some of these older episodes and being able to see some of the things that we possibly missed, we were able to actually see, like, wow, looking at it from the lens that we are now to back then. I don't see how she did it. So kudos to her for having the strength to go all of these seasons and all of these episodes, and coming on and putting on a smile. But she was brave enough to, in front of millions and millions of people, to live her life out loud. So kudos to her. Daughter of Israel said, I agree, because when he was in the hospital, he told Mel, I love you. And it's not about the money. No, it was definitely about the money. That's why you don't marry for material things. Absolutely. I totally agree, sis. D. Herford says he didn't think that she would soar so far and so fast beyond him. Yeah, they never do. They always think that we won't be able to do well without them, which is their hopes. Their hopes is that, they can continue to throw these stumbling blocks in our way to where it would break us down and we'll finally give up and say, you know what, let's just try to work this thing out. And we've seen Martell do that so many times. We've seen him try to constantly do stuff to Mel, to seemingly want to break her down. And if his mindset today is still in hopes that she would come back, like, something is really wrong with her, with him. Something is like really not connecting if he thinks that out of all the things that you've done to her, out of all of these years, do you actually think she'll come back to that? I remember years ago when I had a little boyfriend, this was after college. And I remember that we broke up. And I remember he came to my house and he kicked my door in. And my dad had to come to my house and fix the lock on my door because he kicked my door in and I wasn't able to lock my door. And when my dad got there and my dad had a conversation with him, he was like, do you honestly think with you doing something like this that she would want to come back to you after you've done stuff like this? He was like, you're only pushing her far away. He was like, this is not how you get her attention. If you want her back, this is not how you go about getting her back. So I don't understand why men tend to think that when you come out and you do these bad things to us and you think that it's going to force me to come back to you. I just really don't understand their way of thinking. I really don't understand their way of thinking. Mama B says Martell started getting a lot of attention and he wasn't used to that. He wasn't. Rose said, that's what I love about Mel. She loved helping people, but you have to be careful who you help. They'll bite you. You definitely have to be careful. You definitely have to be careful. D said, in my opinion, the Scots never liked Mel or Martell. They were a mark to try to come up off their backs, but Mel ruined the plan by divorcing Martell. I totally 100% agree. I 100% agree with you, sis. I don't feel like they liked either. I mean, if we look today, I don't feel like Tisha nor Kimmy ever really had a liking for Mel. I feel like they tolerated her for the sake of this show or for the sake of Martell being cool with the guys. But I personally don't think they ever really liked her like that. They just tolerated her. It was something about her that upset something in them that they didn't have. So they always were highly intimidated by her. So I feel like they never liked her, especially when we're going back looking at some of these older seasons. And you can just see the venom off of them. Like every season, with Mel and Tisha, Mel thought that she and Tisha had hashed out whatever differences they had and we were moving forward. But it was something. Every time you turn around, Tisha's still holding on to something that happened, last year or a couple years ago. And, Mel thinking we moved past it. So I feel like she was just hell bent on there constantly being some type of confusion between she and Mel, and she had no desire to move forward in a relationship with her. Rose said Trisha said her and Ken and Marquise was supposed to be getting the bag, but Marquise messed up the whole thing. Whoop whoop. Oh, Marquise is so funny to me. LaShonda said On has edited the clip. They took out the part Martell said they cheated together. I'm gonna have to go watch that, sis. Daughter of Israel said, and that's why they have grown to dislike Mel. I agree. Hey, Bad Apple. Hey, sis. Thanks for pulling up to the table. How you doing? Teresa said, I think it's weird that Tisha and Kimmy didn't defend Mel. It because they're married to them Scott boys. I definitely believe that it's because they're married to them. I definitely do. They have a totally different marriage dynamic. And I feel like Martell wanted Mel to be the kind of wife to him that Tisha and Kimmy is to Marceau and Maurice. I feel like he really wanted that kind of, you just stay at home and just do as I say, and let me walk around and be the man of the house, regardless of what I'm doing in the street, you just focus on the house. And I believe that's the kind of wife that Martell was looking for. But he knew Mel wasn't that type of woman when he got with her. He knew she was a boss, and he knew she was a go-getter. And you can't just tell me anything and think I'm just going to sit by the wayside and let you drive what we're trying to build in the ground. LaShonda said, yes, letting go of toxic marriage free. Yes, letting go of toxicity free you, be it from a marriage or a friendship, a girlfriendship, or whatever the case. Let that toxicity go. Daughter of Israel said, yes, and their husbands have convinced them that Martell cheated, so he's trying to ruin our marriage as well, and they believe it. Yes, they totally do. They totally do. Hey, Mixie Legend. How you doing, sis? Thanks for joining. Daughter of Israel said that's because Russell Wilson is a real man and he loves his wife. He does, and I really, really love their relationship. Hey, Juan. She said, I will be in the replay game tonight. Great conversations going on now in here. Thanks, sis. Thanks for pulling up. We appreciate you. Chit Chat says, say it, sis. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Two can play that game. Listen, let me tell you something. There is no way a Martell can deal with me. I would have had that Negro about to go crazy. You hear me? Even if I wasn't doing anything, he would have thought I was doing something. He definitely would have thought I was doing something. D said, in my opinion, Martell forced his mom to turn against Mel. I believe he did too. Hey, Jenny B. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Square Biz said, people may try to destroy your image and stain your personality, but they can't take away your good deeds. No matter how they describe you, you will still be admired by those who truly know you. That's true. And that's what we see right now. I mean, if we look at Mel right now, she has soared to so many high heights after going through such public scrutiny, and she's still being scrutinized, regardless of how good she is or what she's been through or what she's going through, regardless of her staying in her lane, not bothering anybody. People will always find a reason to dislike her, but I just really applaud her for pushing through and still just, and I know she have her hard days as any of us would, going through something like that so public. But you would think, we 4 years in the game, we are 4 years past that, and the fact that we're still here, we're still going through stuff, and it makes it a lot more difficult when you have children, when children are in the mix, because we're constantly going back and forth to court for petty stuff and nonsense stuff when we didn't even have to go to courts, because we remember she didn't even want to get the courts involved. But of course, the person that she was dealing with was not adult enough to keep things out of the court, because he's the type of person that you have to have on paper. He's the type of person that you have to utilize the court system to make sure he's walking the straight and narrow and staying according to how things are written out. even though he's in court now and he's still doing what he want to do when he want to do it. But those kind of people, you just can't. There is no logic in working with a person like Martell. But for whatever reason, getting back on our topic, is we give him a pass. People give him a pass. It's just like, let him run amok, let him do and say what he want to do, let him come out and send people like Tasha K to attack this lady's character, and let his bird come out and attack this lady's character. But how dare she respond, right? How dare she say anything? She shouldn't say anything. She shouldn't fight back. She shouldn't strike back. She should just stay over there where she is and just let him keep doing what he's doing. But, whatever God has for you will be for you, no matter the stumbling blocks that a person may try to throw your way, like Square Biz was saying. It won't stop her from being who she is. When God has ordained you for greatness, that's what your path is. And so, regardless of what he does, and I'm just appalled that he hasn't seen that yet. It just seemed like every time he comes out and do something, she comes up and she wins again, and I'm not just talking about winning as far as what they're going through in the court system. I'm just talking about like in her everyday life. It's like she's constantly building and she's rebuilt things that she dissolved, and to just see her growth and see her like at a point to where we talked about this on Sis's Live earlier, just being able to watch her video of how she was able to just sew back into her mom for being there. That's just greatness to me, for her to get to a point to where she's building herself up in her business to where now I can show appreciation to the people around me, and to just be able to show her mom some love. So I appreciate seeing that. And what woman don't want to see that? What woman don't want to see a woman that came out of what she went through, and watch her start from ground zero and build everything back up? But again, some people would just rather attack her because her husband cheated, got a whole baby, and she decided to choose her, walk away, dissolve everything, start over from scratch. And it's not easy. And I mentioned before, I had to start over with 2 kids. So imagine 4, and one of them being a baby at the time. So I know that's hard, starting from ground zero, but people overlook what he's doing and put all the blame on her. Like, I just really wish that we as women could get better about supporting each other. And you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to like everybody. I'm not going to like everybody. I don't like Destiny. I don't rock with Destiny like that. I'm not a Stormy fan. I don't rock with Stormy like that. But you would never see me out here pointing the blame or trying to, do anything to destroy her business or anything like that. I just don't rock with her. I wouldn't buy her. I wouldn't support her business because of her business ethic. But it has nothing to do with her personally or as a personality on a TV show. But I would never there's no way you can get me to just purposely try to cause harm to another woman, or purposely be out here faulting and blaming a woman because of what her man is doing to her. Like, there's no way I would have a problem with her coming out responding, because in my opinion, I think Mel has been too quiet for too long. I feel like she should come out with gloves off, slanging and banging at this point, because Martell and his bird has done too much. Think what you want to think about me, but there's no way me and that bird could be in the same city and she ain't been touched, because I would have done reached out and touched her by now, because her mouth is too reckless. So for women to sit up and still want to fault this lady, and at this point, it ain't got nothing to do with you having my ex. It's the principle. And that's what people need to stop saying. If Mel decides to come out here right now and say what she want to say about coleslaw, or if she pull up on her and whoop her tail, it ain't about Martell. It's not about you having a kid with my husband. It's not about you breaking my ex-husband. It's not about you breaking up my marriage. It's not about any of that. It's the principle. It's about you putting your mouth on me. That's what this is about. That's what this battle is about. It has nothing to do with him. Take him out of the equation. I mean, gloves off at this point. Miss Wynn said, hey sis, I didn't realize that I had not subscribed. New subscriber, great topic and commentary. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. Hey, Miss J. She said Martell can't pass a test, but sure is a master manipulator with the criminal mind. And that's all he's good at. He is a master manipulator with the criminal mind. You said it right. They can't put their mind to doing any good. It's all self-destruction. Jenny B said, ooh, good point. Teresa said being married and publicly cheating is just stupid. That's why Trish won't file for a divorce because Marquise will get paid. Very true. Jenny B said, thinking like a narcissist. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bad Apple said, yep. And he allowed her to do the work and become the skilled entrepreneur that she is today. Absolutely. And that's his fault because you would have thought he would have been trying to at least learn the trade. You know, I mean, there's no way you can cheat and cause the demise of your marriage and then be out here now being a whole bum and you have nothing to show for it. You have absolutely nothing to show for it. I mean, you don't even have a woman that can even stand next to Mel and have us look at you and say, okay, he winning. He came up, he got a nice looking chick on his arm. He's doing well. Like absolutely nothing. I would be so embarrassed. There's no way I would even come out and show my face, let alone on this show. LaShonda said she wanted the marriage to end so she could become Mrs. Hope, and she still has not become Mrs. Hope. So something in the water ain't right. Irene says she just got an extra bag of Skittles because she ain't got itch to show that she was taken care of. Absolutely nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing. Red Ann said their dark deed would have been exposed. I agree. Sis said the bird served Martell's purpose last week. She no longer needed by Martell until next reunion. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to see how he come out and address the situation with Tasha K. It's so stupid on his behalf to not be able to recognize that every time you get somebody to come out and try to discredit this lady and try to say stuff against her, you never win. In the voice of Nene Leakes, you never win when you play dirty. You just never win. It's just like you have two dummies, like sis said, two dummy asses working together. They never win. Miss J said you have a side chick who's nothing, who have something to lose. Then you have the broke side chick that was living off of charity. That's exactly what it is. She was living off of charity, which is all the more reason why she should have kept her mouth shut. Miss Wynn said, I hope and pray that women would love themselves more, that less than half of a man like Martell. I wish they would too, sis. LaDawn said, please hit the like. Thanks, sis. I appreciate you. I really wish that too, D. Herford. I really do. Square Biz said, these days, some women do not care whether the man is married or not. But to me, it's the man who is always at fault, as he is the one who signed the marriage contract with his bride. That's absolutely true. It's always the man at fault. It's always his fault because the loyalty, he is the one that should have had loyalty to his wife. So I never will initially point the finger at the other woman. Initially, the blame is always to the man because he's the one who broke the covenant. However, if you are a bird like the bird and you just come out here chirping and chirping and chirping, especially when you knew. Now, I get there are men who lie. There are men who say, we're not together or we're getting a divorce or I'm just there for my kids, this, that, or the third. They tell all kind of stories to get in good with the mistress, right? But I feel like as the other woman, you should do your due diligence to make sure that this man is not lying, because there's no way you can be right there in Huntsville and not know that Martell Hope was not married to Melody Hope. There's no way you would not know that. You should have done your due diligence to find out if this man was still married or not. And once you found out that that man was still legally married, you should have then pumped the brakes and say, you know what? You cool and all, but holler at me when that divorce is final. But she chose to stay in the relationship. So that's when the blame then becomes to her as well, because she could have walked away, but she chose to stay in the relationship. So I totally agree. However, then at some point we point the finger at her because she chose to stay in a relationship, and not only did she choose to stay in the relationship, you wanted to start attacking the wife as if the wife owed you something, as if the wife had wronged you when you sleeping with this lady's husband. So get out of here. LaShonda said Martell pretends to have all of this confidence, but he is really insecure. He is very insecure, and you can tell he's very insecure. Sis said some men have little boy syndrome, like Martell and his moose knuckle. Little boys hit you and run and giggle, and that means they like you. Grown men know better. Yes, I had one of those when I was in high school, and I couldn't stand him. He always used to just run up and just mess with me for no reason, like out of all the people. And my coach told me, he was like, he does that because he likes you. Well, just say something. Like, I think that's so weird. Like, we got to do better at raising these boys because they grow up to be men like Martell, and it's horrible. Philly girl said, in my opinion, Martell wanted Mel to take him back like Nell took Chris back. He got tricked. Oh, he fell for the okie doke for sure. I believe he did as well. He wanted her to excuse that behavior, and just some things are just a deal breaker. And deal breakers are different per person. Some people can take the man back after infidelity, and you feel like they are a changed individual. I know a woman who stayed even after a baby was brought into the marriage. She actually stayed with her husband. But I'm not one of them. So deal breakers vary per person. Teresa said Tisha might have liked Mel a little bit, but Kimmy made sure that that didn't work. Yeah, I think they both ran interference on their relationship when it came to Mel. There were times that you felt like Tisha and Mel were getting a little close, and Kimmy ran interference. And then there were times to where Tisha felt like Mel and Kimmy were getting a little close, and she ran interference. I think they both wanted each other for themselves. And look at them now. Tia P said, I think they wanted to keep some type of relationship with Mel for financial gain. I totally agree. I agree, sis. I totally agree. I'm going to put the link in the chat if you want to come up and join me on the panel. Feel free to do so. And this is for anybody that wants to click the link and come up. Please feel free to do so. D said, from the time Kimmy and Tisha called Mel bougie, I was done with those. Me too. I knew then it was some jealousy, sis. I totally do. Sis said Marquise and Ken cutting up on Instagram. It's a girl. I don't even follow. I don't follow them. I just see Marquise when he do his little whoop whoop to Mel when I think he is so funny to me. I bet Martell can't stand Marquise. Who child? He is so funny. I didn't know they were going at it on Instagram, sis. And I think that is so petty. I feel like Ken to me comes off as like a big buff kid. Like, I think he feel like because he got muscles, he can kind of push his way onto people. But I think he's so unattractive too. Maybe that's why I don't follow him like that. D said, in my opinion, Marceau told Tisha to not be friends with Mel because it was good for their storyline. I'm sure. I'm sure that's a lot of the issue. They wanted to have something, some sort of storyline outside of being honest about their own lives, right? Miss Vaughn said, Android, woo woo. Yes, sis, that's what I'm talking about. Androids in the house. Rose said, I'm so glad Mel was her own woman. Me too, sis. Me too. Irene said they didn't think Melody was the woman that she is. That's what it was. That's what it was. She surprised them all, right? And she's younger than them. Square Beard said, yes, Martell thought Mel will accept the cheating like the other wives. Had he known that Mel would truly file for a divorce and not come back, he may have stopped the nonsense and focused. I would have left Martell when he was going into that hospital. You remember on that series, this episode where he was going into the hospital for that surgery? You remember right after that, he was climbing up the steps to call Coleslaw. I would have left that Negro as soon as they rolled him into the hospital room. And I would have called her and said, come get your man. He in room 103. You can have him. I would have left him then. Reen said Martell was too dumb to run the businesses they had successfully. He should have been thanking God for man. He should have been, but he was intimidated by her. Mel was actually living with the enemy. She was living with her enemy. I don't think he was ever on her team. He just wanted her for what she could do for him when it comes to business wise and money wise. She literally was the brains. We can clearly see she was the brains. LaShonda said Melody owns the room when she walks through. She is extremely beautiful and smart. Also, Mel doesn't bite her tongue. I totally agree. I totally agree. Sis said, Divas, if any of you are in a relationship where your mate is cheating, leave. It gets greater later. Absolutely. Absolutely. My name only. Hey, sis. Thanks for pulling up. She said, new subscriber here. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate you. Mixie Legend said he takes the pass. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Bad Apple said black men hate Russell Wilson because they identify with Future, rich deadbeat dads with multiple kids by multiple women. They can't stand the idea of their baby mama finding her own rust. I totally agree. I totally agree. They cannot. And I always wonder, like, why do men hate him so much? I just see him as, a high value man that stepped up and helped raise the child of the woman that he loved. That's all he did. Did he do anything wrong? I mean, would you rather her be with someone that was mistreating her child? I mean, then that would be a problem too, right? Rose said Martell should be tired by now. He ain't tired, child. He ain't tired. Hey, let's be clear. How you doing, sis? Thanks for joining. Square Biz said Martell must be tired of being sick and tired, but he knows that he has gone to hell, and that is a point of no return. Unfortunately, if I didn't know the situation better, I would have felt sorry. I totally agree. Hey, feminine Leo, how you doing, sis? Thanks for joining. I agree. I totally agree, Square Biz. I agree. He's at the point of no return at this point, and he's at a point of crashing out. I feel like he's at a point to crashing out because he sees that he's losing. Daughter of Israel said, period. There's no rules to this ish at all. At all. D says Mel has too much to lose. Karma will touch Coleslaw and Martell. I believe he is. I believe it is already. I believe they're already getting their karma, but they're not getting it how they're going to get it because um I don't see what the end game is, and we have asked that question all the time, like what is the end game? And I feel like the end game for Martell is to see Mel struggling, to see her lose everything, to see her needing him, um, to see her um being bashed. Like he loves to see other people talking bad about her, which is why he constantly always trying to, send court documents and just little stuff to bloggers and stuff like that. But I don't feel like in his mind, um, he's come to the realization yet that it's over. I feel like he won't stop until she has lost everything. Hey, sis. Hey, Bad Apple. How
Hey, Pink Diva, how are you this evening?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for joining me.
Well, yeah, thanks for having this table talk this evening.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the topic?
You know what? I just want to know if we're going to see it addressed. I want to know if we are going to see them address this on the reunion stage.
Mhm.
Um, I want to see Carlos. Well,
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if he is going to hold Martell accountable for these shenanigans that he does with Tasha K. I want to see if it's even going to be brought up. Do you think he's going to allow um Martell to be held accountable for doing these shenanigans with Tasha K?
I don't think he will. I think Carlos turns a blind eye to a lot of stuff he sees and don't see. I don't think he will address it because I feel like he has, with him having whatever his issue is with Mel. Um, I feel like he will allow it to still just run amok without trying to reel it in. I feel that he also gets enjoyment out of seeing her go through the things that she go through, so he purposely tries to avoid having certain topics being discussed on the screen. So I don't think he will. I honestly don't think he will, and especially after we was listening to over on Sis's channel earlier at him talk about the reunion, and he spoke on how the seating arrangements changed and how it's going to look different this year. And they were discussing how they don't think Mel will actually have like that up close seat by Carlos, like she and Martell has had in the past. So it's going to be interesting to even see the seating arrangement. I think he has an underlying issue with her, an unspoken issue. I feel like he is as well feeling a certain kind of way because of her fan base, because of how she is seemingly outgrowing the show, and with her lack of wanting to film or be around Martell, that kind of caused him to have to change the direction in which he wanted the show to go. So I don't feel like he's going to address it. I don't.
Really? Even after having, like, he started the season with it, right? He started the season
He
with
did.
talking about that, that sit down that they had, right? I don't,
Mhm.
yeah, you might be right about that. So, do you think that, that you know what? I'm kind of answering my own questions as I ask them,
But
but
sometimes you have to talk it out loud.
yeah, yeah. But I was gonna ask next about the court filing thing after the TikTok, and then him, texting her a few days later talking about
Mhm.
some "I'm sorry" a million times. I
Mhm. Mhm.
wanted to know, is this going to grace the reunion stage or no? And I, like, when I was formulating the question in my mind, I was thinking to myself, girl, you know damn well, you know damn well he ain't gonna let them talk about that.
No, he won't. He controls the narrative, which is why I feel like he's always hosting the reunion so that he can control the narrative. I feel like he needs to bring in someone who's unbiased and have no ties to any of the characters on the show. Um, and just ask the real questions and the hard questions, and he won't allow anybody to do it for that reason. So I highly doubt he brings up um, any of the controversy that we are seeing on social media. I don't even think he'll bring up the conversation that people were saying, a possibility of coleslaw coming to the show. I don't think he'll address any of those things. I feel like if he calls Martell out and address any of those things, he'll have to incorporate some of the stuff that he's seen and heard Coleslaw doing. So he purposely omits those things. And because too, I feel like he knows Martell's temper. And I feel like he likes to treat Martell with kid gloves. and he don't like to push too far because he'll back off. He'll only ask like the easy things because he knows the behavior that Martell has portrayed. So I don't think he'll be discussing any of those things.
I'm
I don't.
wondering too, is there really a restraining order or like an order of protection that stipulates a distance between Mel and Martell? Because if that's the case, they probably didn't even get to be on stage together. But I'm just so I cannot wait for this reunion because it's just so much hanging over the situation. You know what I'm saying?
It is. And I what I find hard to wrap my mind around is like I personally feel like Mel is one of the most unproblematic characters or cast members on the show. I feel like she shows up, she shows her real life and wants to show her businesses and the things that she have going on. But I feel like he dislikes that part of it so much because she's so non-controversial. And I feel like he dislikes her so much that he'll try to hone in on the negative stuff when it comes to her. He'll push, 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 push her buttons, but he'll back off when it's about the other cast members. Like he won't really drive in and he'll ask a question, but he won't ask a deep dive question. Like I remember if we go back all the way to um the reunion a couple of years back when the whole coleslaw thing came out and how he was talking about coleslaw being the whole table and stuff like that. Like he just kept pushing and pushing and asking her all of those disrespectful questions, in my opinion. But when it comes to the other cast members, like he don't drive home like that. Like he just leave things to the imagination when it comes to the other cast members. Like I'll ask this question, but I'm not going to push. I'm just gonna let it go and move to the next person. But he won't do that with Mel. So I'm going to be interested as well in seeing how this reunion play out. And because of all the controversy that's been going on social media, and also because of the discord that we so visibly see between Mel and Carlos, I really want to see their interaction. I really want to see how he reacts to her.
Me too. I do. I want to see that. And I also want to see, like I said, what discussions that he allows there to be had on the stage,
Hmm.
especially regarding Martell's behavior. Um, just around like, being so just adversarial towards Mel. And then, like, the previous reunion, he asked, are you and your child's mother dating? And he's always said, no, we're not dating. I'm single or yada, yada, yada. I'm interested to know if we're going to see that question again and what's the answer going to be. Because, I mean, now y'all are going to public events together. And
Hmm.
she again is saying, my man. So,
Hmm.
like, I'm really interested to see if they ask that question again to let him answer again. Because if he say that again, like, if he says again, like, no, we're not dating, we're not together, that is going to be so humiliating.
I'm
And
interested in him in knowing if he'll even ask the question, if he'll even bring it up. I feel like he would bring it up only if he thinks that it will negatively affect Mel in some sort of way. Because I feel like he do and say stuff to see what her reaction will be. And he pushes the envelope. So he very well, I mean, because if we look back on this whole past season, Martell haven't even really filmed a lot.
right.
And I think the reunion will happen prior to the new episode starting. So will there even be any conversations geared toward what's going to happen on the second part of the season? Because a lot of stuff would be missing.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is the reunion happened after these public events that they were seen at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he does ask, and Martell again says, "No, we're not dating. We're not together. I'm single." I hope all the CCs come on here and clown the hell out of that bird for once and for all. just,
Oh, for sure they will. For sure.
just get because I mean, what bigger dummy ass could there be? Chit chat. I'm saying in my chit chat voice for you to be out here and now you all of a sudden you're coming on here claiming that man and he can't claim you on the reunion stage. But that's all. That's all I had to say.
Well, thank you for that. Those very thought-provoking questions, because those are definitely great points and thoughts that we have to look forward to for the reunion. So um I'm interested in knowing too. Hey sis.
Hey sis, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the panel. How are you?
Oh, child, you'll have to
Hey,
look at
chit
your
chat.
text message. Hey, good bad apple. Take one look at your text message if you can, and you'll see a picture. But I wanted to hit the link because I am going to have to, unfortunately, deal with some family drama. Let me know when you got the picture.
Okay, I just got it.
You see that?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So, but I did
Okay.
want to just come up and say, and I'm sorry, hey, good, bad apple. I know that was dry. I'm sorry. Excellent, excellent topic though, sis. And I really do think that it has to do with, unfortunately, the double standards when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
men versus women. And,
Mm-hmm.
men have always gotten a pass for a lot of things outside of just bad behavior or cheating or so
Mm-hmm.
I think it just plays into the dynamic of how we all grew up, you know, no matter the race, honestly. But it's an excellent topic when it comes to Martell and Moses. Who was that was agreeing with me in the chat? Mama V. I think it was only me and Mama V. We still riding with Sonny was doing a little too much. We wouldn't
She
know
was.
anything, we wouldn't know anything about Moses to compare him in this way. So for me, she's at the top of the list when it comes to how she moved. And she was moving like the
Mm-hmm.
man in the relationship. So hopefully it's a lesson learned, but I do want to say to any woman that's listening, if any of you are going through any type of cheating or whatever the case may be, I promise you it gets greater later. Leave, choose yourself, and then let them fight over who get a pass. Let the next woman do it. But excellent. Sis, I'm sorry. This is not like me, but I just wanted to, I told my brother to hold on. I just wanted to come up, let you know I love you in an excellent, excellent chat.
Thank you, sis. Love you back. Go check on your sister. We'll chat later.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
And
good, bad.
I'm gonna drop down to
Okay.
I've
Yes, because
said what
we're
I
an hour
said.
and 34 minutes in.
Yeah.
But great commentary. I feel that this, and before you leave, Bad Apple, so just going back to our topic about why we think women, especially us as African American women, why do you feel like we tend to give the man a pass when it comes to situations such as what we were discussing?
I just think that it's culture. Um, I feel like we haven't been given a good um foundation as to what a woman really um, should accept and should agree with as far as like relationships go. I personally can tell you myself, um, I growing up did not get any type of training on what men are like.
Mhm.
I just saw my mom in relationships, and I think that conditioned me in a way. And I think that the way we are brought up, it conditions us um, either positively or negatively to accept certain behaviors. I can just remember being in relationships and wishing and after the relationship wishing I knew this or wishing I knew that before engaging in the relationship with that particular person. I think it's different with every woman, but it's all about what you've been taught and how you have been affirmed in your early life, in your early development, um, how you've been personally affirmed.
Mhm.
Um, just personally speaking, I can remember being 18 in college and being told that I was beautiful and like it was it was suspicious. Like it was always funny to me, somebody
Mhm.
saying, "Oh my God, wow, you're so beautiful." And then I remember I was 22 years old at this point, coming out of church, and my mother said it to me, "Wow, you're so beautiful." And that moment stuck with me. Like,
Mhm.
why? I used to always wonder, like, why was that a moment that just stuck with me in my memory?
Mhm.
And I kid you not, it was 10 years later. I was like 30 something. And I realized after that moment just kept coming back to me and coming back to me over the years, I realized that was the first time that ever happened. And I was like, oh my God, that was the first time I ever heard my mother tell me that I'm beautiful. And it dawned on me that the reason why it was always odd to me to hear somebody compliment me in that way is because I never heard it growing up. And
Mhm.
because I never experienced it in a way that, let me say, wasn't suspicious to me, like that I didn't wonder what somebody wanted from me when they said it to me. If
Mhm.
that's if that could be understood, if
Mhm.
that if you could, if
Uh-huh,
I'm
because I know a lot of women that did not grow up in a household to where, your mom and your dad told you that you were beautiful and or your grandparents. So when they hear it, which is why a lot of young women today tend to find themselves in the wrong relationships is because the first time a man come along and tell you that you pretty, you feel like that is like, oh my goodness, like you said, I've never heard that before. And you feel like he's telling you something or showing you something different from what you've experienced. So it's so easy for them to pull you over and then manipulate you because you feel like, to you that sounds like love because nobody ever told me that before. He's the only person or the first person that ever told me that. So I know this person must really love me. And it's so easy for us to fall and get connected with the wrong people because you've never been affirmed before. Which is the reason why I made sure, because I have two girls, I made sure that every day when they were little and even now, telling them that they were beautiful, you can be anything, you can have anything that you want. that affirmation starts early. It starts at home. And that's why it's so important to have father figures in the household, because dads just don't understand how much value they add in the lives of their daughters, because that is a pivotal a piece of their life. Like having that relationship and being able to experience a daddy's love is like so different, and a lot of women grew up in single parent households to where it may have just been the mom, and vice versa, even with the boys. But just having a father figure in the house to be able to just affirm you and tell you that you're beautiful, tell you the things to expect when it comes to men and making the right choices in the men that you date, and showing you how a man should or should not treat you. Like that's so important to girls, and it's so disheartening to me when I see men being less than. Like we see the whole Mel and Martell situation. We see Martell have four girls. He has four daughters. And this is what you're showing them. Like this is the behavior you're showing them, that it's okay for uh you to go out and cheat and have a whole side chick and then have a whole baby and then expect my mama to just accept the side chick and the new kid and all of these things. Like I feel like, and when people say he's a great father, I disagree. I disagree that he's a great father, because
Right.
there's no way a man with having four daughters, very impressionable at very impressionable ages, this is what you're showing them. This is how you're showing them that they should be treated by a man, because you can't say, don't let somebody come and treat you like this, but when I see you treating my mom like this, like, make it make sense. So
Right.
I feel like he's missing out on pivotal moments, and I just really don't feel like he's telling them the truth. Of course, he'll never tell them that he was at fault, the reason why, we now have two separate households. He'll never be honest about that. But the fact that you're not caring enough about them to at least go to therapy with the kids and try to at least work through those differences, to let the kids know, even though, me and your mom didn't work, I still love you. You're still beautiful. And, don't allow a man to come into your life and do the things that I did to your mom. Like, but we know he's just not equipped enough to, because that'll mean he's holding himself accountable, right? If he's going to his kids and saying, don't be like, don't get a man like dad, don't get somebody that's going to make the same mistake that I made, or even not even just the girls. What are you teaching your son? So I
Right.
feel like just having somebody who can speak life into you when you're at those impressionable ages will help avoid, you running into a lot of situations like that. So I feel like that's where the ball was dropped with a lot of women, even women that are close to me. They just were not brought up in a household to where love was visible. It just they felt like they had to be hard. You have to get up and work for what you want. If you want something, go work for it. Don't ask a man for it. So a lot of those experiences are foreign when you get of age, because it's a feeling that you never felt before. So I can definitely um see where you're coming from with that as well.
Yeah. And yeah, those affirmations you mentioned, like I didn't have any of that growing up from either parent. And even to this day, like I know my beauty. I totally have accepted it, in my as I grew older, I recognized it. But even today, when somebody says it to me, like somebody will say it to me in passing, and it's still suspicious. It's still suspect because I always grew up with, if somebody's telling you you're cute, or if somebody's telling you you're beautiful, or giving you that, type of compliment, it's something they want from you, or
Hmm.
it's something nefarious about it. you know? So, and that's just something that I grew up with because, being um I as a child I was bullied, and
Mm-hmm.
so you internalize a lot of things. And you know you have to, when you come out of those environments, you have to do like a tremendous work to unlearn
Mm-hmm.
the negative things that you were taught about yourself. And that is why I like mental health is I'm such a champion of mental health. Like that is first and foremost for me,
Mm-hmm.
is for people to protect their peace
Absolutely.
and pursue your peace among, above all other things. Pursue your peace. And that's what
I
I live
agree.
by now.
I agree. And you have to. Once we get a certain point in our lives, and I know this is where you are, you have to learn how to start affirming yourself. We have to affirm ourselves. And like you say, you're all of those things. It just felt a way because you never experienced it in the home. You never heard it being told to you in the home. And we have to affirm ourselves because a lot
Yep.
of time people just drop the ball with us a lot, right? A lot of things we did not experience in our childhood that I feel like we should have had the opportunity to experience. A lot of us had to grow up extremely fast. Some of us, like I said, there are so many people who grew up. I had friends who grew up in a single parent household to where they were basically like the adult to their younger siblings. So they had to grow up being the protector. They had to grow up being, watching the smaller kids while mom went out and worked two, three jobs to make ends meet. And a lot of those like childhood experiences, they were missed. They didn't get the opportunity to do that. And so we grow up with all of these anxieties and we grow up with feeling that we lack something and something we didn't get a chance to experience things. So therapy is key. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you have the mindset to pursue therapy and to, because it's a trauma. It's a trauma that we have to heal. A lot of us are
Yep.
still dealing with inner childhood traumas that are going unhealed. And a lot of times we wonder why we continue to make some of the decisions we make or going through some of the things that we go through or have experienced. Is because we still have some unhealed childhood trauma. And therapy is definitely the key. Finding your peace is key. And and when you can get that, and when you recognize that you need help, therapy is a great thing. Is nothing wrong with going to therapy. And going to therapy is not
Right.
saying, something's wrong with me. Going to therapy means I know something is wrong and I want to get help for what is wrong. There's
Right.
something missing. So I want to be able to talk to someone who's unbiased, someone who does not know me or my history or my past or anything, but can help me go overcome some of these hurdles I'm experiencing. And it's a life-changing experience. And then you come out healed, you come out being able to, where you may have in the past wanted to hear or needed to hear somebody say you were beautiful or that they loved you. I can walk out and say, I'm loved whether you love me or not. I know somebody who does. I love myself. You don't have to love me. Being vulnerable enough to open up and speak about some of the things that you experience is a key to helping you move past and get to your healing. And peace is so important. I don't ever recall a time in my life that I was so big on peace as uh, right now in my older years. Peace is important to me. There is something that I will not allow
Too.
anybody to interrupt, and that's my peace. And then you ain't going to abuse my time. Those are just something I just can't get back, and I'm not going to let anybody interrupt and disrupt my peace. So if I got to leave, I don't care if you mama, daddy, sister, brother. If you are interrupting and disrupting my peace, you got to go. So, you got to be able to set boundaries with
Right.
people. You got to be able to protect your peace by all means necessary, because when you're dealing with stuff mentally and your peace is so upset mentally, like, that's stressful. It causes all kind of sickness, all kind of anxieties, and a lot of times
Yep.
why we walk around with all these illnesses. It's stress, and it's with your peace being interrupted, you gotta know how to speak life into yourself. And this is for anybody. Don't think that therapy is a bad thing. Therapy is not a bad thing. Seek therapy. Talk to
It's
somebody.
life-saving.
It is. It's very life saving. And even if you cannot afford to go to therapy, if you have anybody in your life that you trust enough to be able to just be able to open up sometimes, like, and tell my friends, I feel like I should open a therapy office, because I need to put a couch in my office when I'm at my 9 to 5. People would just walk in and start telling me their business like I didn't ask for it, and they would just walk in and just start unloading things that they were going through and experiencing. But find somebody that you trust enough to where you're comfortable enough to share and get some of this stuff off. Don't carry it, because it's hard enough that um the world and society is how it is today. And we don't need to be carrying around all of this baggage, and if you got to shut yourself off from some people to get your peace, shut yourself off from those people that are disrupting your peace. Trust me, you're not missing anything. Love yourself first, because if you don't love you, you can't expect anybody else to come and love you more than you love yourself. So you gotta love. So I'm glad that you brought that up and mentioned about therapy, because and mentioned the fact of what you were missing, and we can tie this back to why we always tend to blame, um, point fingers at the woman when there's a lack thereof of men. And I feel like too, I feel like men just were not affirmed either. Like, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with, parents telling their sons that, I love you, son. You can be anything, you can accomplish anything. I feel like that's what's missing. We want to beat these boys into being so hard and so masculine that, we forget that they are human too, and that they have
Right.
feelings. And teach these boys that it's okay to show emotions, and that if you gotta cry, cry. There's absolutely nothing wrong with crying, because how they're raised is it helps determine how they are when they are adults. And we see now there are so many broken men that are spilling onto all of these good women, and you're spilling all of this bad baggage and toxicity into these women and causing all of this stress and harm because you're unhealed. And I feel like more men need to go to therapy. Put these boys in some type of um program when they're young. Find them some mentors if they don't have a father figure. Find them some mentors in the community. What happened to the uncles that used to be pivotal in the kids' lives when the daddies wasn't around? Like, where are those strong uncles that can teach these men how to be men, but also to teach them that it's okay to show their emotions. Like, it really is okay to show your emotions. And I feel like
Right.
the world would be a better place.
You know what? There's a push against that. There is a push against mentorship. I don't know where this stuff comes from. Um I can probably guess the manosphere, but right now I've seen a trend of men out here. Like, case in point, we was discussing Russell Wilson earlier. There's men out here, they're preaching against being a role model for anybody else's kid, preaching against being anyone's stepfather, preaching against, you know, having to protect anybody that's not, in your immediate circle or family or whatever. And yeah, it's like men do not want to have any unnecessary accountability. And it's wild. Like, and to me, it trickles down. Like there was and I'm gonna be leaving Twitter soon. But there was a trend, uh what do you call it? There was something that happened on Twitter where this one guy mass unfollowed a lot of people. He mass unfollowed everybody. It even got on to TikTok. There was a TikToker who started investigating why did he block all of us?
Oh
Because
wow.
we don't know him. And I don't know him. I never have interacted with him. But when they said check to see if he blocked you, and I checked, I too was blocked. And what happened was this guy mass blocked everybody who interacted with a tweet that was reprimanding or clowning Black men for wanting Kamala Harris to address child support. And it's like, there is a trend of men now wanting to be free of child support.
Oh,
They
I
want,
believe it.
like, they literally want to not be required to pay child support for their children that they have made. And they're angry they were angry that Kamala Harris introduced an agenda for Black men that did not include addressing child support. No, he was not a comedian. Now, no, yeah, a comedian did make a comment about that, but this guy who mass blocked everybody, no, he was not a comedian. He just was a regular like Twitter user. But it became a whole thing, like, who is this guy who has blocked all of us? But he blocked everybody who interacted with the tweet from that lady clowning Black men as being the only group of men who want to do away with child support. These men do not want the accountability at all. They don't
At
want it.
all. They sure don't.
They and it's like, you made these children, but you don't want to be held accountable for your progeny. That is
Mhm.
crazy. Ain't no other group of men out here asking Kamala Harris, what are you going to do? This is the thing. They don't want to be held for what they do. And it's like,
Mhm.
you, y'all try to say that Black women are masculine, but at what point are y'all going to take the responsibility off of Black women that y'all put onto us? I'm so glad I never had one of these one of these men. Like, I am so glad that I never had a child from one of these deadbeat mentality men. They
And
don't
that's why
like
you have to
Russell
choose
Wilson.
wisely.
Yes, they don't like Russell Wilson because he took responsibility for another man's child.
Mhm.
They don't like that. But they don't want to take responsibility for their own children.
And
And this
never
is
held Future accountable for not taking care of his child.
Right. They won't hold him accountable because they are future. They identify with him.
Mm-hmm.
He is, and they aspire to be him. A rich man who can go out here. He literally has 8 kids with 8 different women,
Oh
but he
wow.
is their idol. Literally. Like 4 more after Sierra. 4 additional baby mamas and 4 additional babies.
And I believe Martell would be the same way if Mel was the type of woman to say, "Okay, you want the kids? Okay, you can have custody of the kids." I can guarantee you he wouldn't want it if child support wasn't coming with it. And I
Right.
believe he was if Mel is awarded full custody of those kids and he'll not be able to bring anything else back up in the courts, he wouldn't want to have anything to do with those kids. I believe he would stop getting the kids on his 7 days. I really don't even think he cares enough to want to have those children on the 7 days he have them. It's just he feel like I can either get them to get information about their mama, or I can continue trying to fight her in court. But I highly doubt that he wants full custody of those kids. If the judge was to give them to him, he wouldn't even know what to do. He wouldn't want them if they didn't come with child support. It was only a money grab. So he would definitely be one of those men who would be super hands off with the kids if Mel is awarded full custody, and would have a problem if she was to meet a new man and he step in and start taking care of the kids. He's just one of those type of people. I have no doubt that he would be hands off if he could no longer use those kids to get to Mel. He's only using the kids. So I don't understand the whole dad beat dad thing. Like, why would you not want to take care of your kid? And I'm not going to, now, don't get me wrong. I know some women who has made co-parenting very hard for men who really were trying to be present in their kids' lives. They were paying child support, but every time, they get a new woman, they want to take him back to court for more child support, or just always want to be a nuisance. So I know some women who have been stumbling blocks with men who do try to be great fathers. So we're not talking about those. However, there are more deadbeat dads out there than there are good men who really are trying to be there for their children. Because why would you not want to pay to help take care of your seed, the seed that you helped bring into the world, right? Like, it makes no sense to me. And you would get mad and say that you're not going to vote because she's not going to pass a bill to help you with child support. How about if you pay your child support, you wouldn't be behind on child support? A lot of them will literally go quit their job to avoid child support coming out of their check. Like, and then right after that lies a bird like coleslaw who will proudly take them in and let them come lay up at your house and don't work so that they can avoid paying child support. It's just a never ending vicious cycle. Like, there's
Yeah.
always an enabler, and then there's always somebody trying to get over.
Right. And then who is the blame? They blame the woman. It's always the
Blame the
woman's
woman.
fault. So that's why we were talking about affirmation. That's why it's so important to affirm these girls and to arm them with information. Like, even if I wasn't being told that I was beautiful, when I was a kid, growing up, it would have done me so much good to have a woman giving me instructions on, you know, the nature of men, how men are, what men will do, And because I'm telling you, I was so green. I didn't have a boyfriend in high school. So my first, um, experiences with relationships was in college.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, from college through my 20s, I was getting ran over. I
Well,
can look
yeah,
back on it.
when we don't know, we go through that. I was fortunate enough to be raised in the house with my brother, and my brother was a 304 left and right. You hear me? I was able to see firsthand how easy it was for men to cheat and get away with stuff. So it was very hard for a guy when I was growing up and even now to get over on me because I grew up seeing how they operate. My brother had a long term girlfriend. We were young. They were high school, elementary school, middle school sweethearts, and over into high school years. And I remember we were growing up, he would have different girls come to the house and he would have the chick sitting on his lap and the main chick, or what they call them, the bottom chick, the main chick would call the phone. He would tell the other chick sitting on his lap, like, be quiet, this her calling. She would literally sit there, not say anything. He would answer that phone and talk to his girlfriend like she and pumped her up like she was the best thing this side of heaven. And okay, baby, I'm gonna call you back. All the while, another chick sitting right there, and I'm sitting there with my mouth open, like, did this just happen? And then to see the chick, she literally sat there. She didn't say anything. She didn't question. And in his defense, they knew he had a woman. The other chick knew he had a woman, but the main chick didn't know he had side chicks. But the fact that I saw that, growing up, I was sitting there like, oh, a Negro would never. So if I'm calling and you're not answering your phone and you telling me, oh, you sleep, yeah, I bet you were asleep. Who was over there? Like, so it was just hard for, them to pull the wool over my eyes when it came to relationships because I grew up with a brother that I saw it all. I mean, he went through some women, and to just see women that would sit up and would fight over him, and all the while he's the common denominator. Like, he's causing all of this chaos, triangulating these women against each other. And it's all because of him. And he's doing all of these things. So thankfully, I was able to grow up and witness those behaviors. So it was real hard for a man to pull the wool over my eyes with stuff because I'm sitting there like, you can have another chick sitting on your lap and be telling me you love me at the same time. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. It's just it's the things that we go through and have to deal with as women. The
Well,
things.
yeah. Well, that was a good experience for you to have. My brother was in prison by the time, so
It's right. It was a good experience, and that just shows how we all grow up so different, and we don't have. Some of us have experience that others didn't. Sometimes it takes us longer, and sometimes even though I experienced it, we still make mistakes. We still end up getting with the wrong dudes or overlooking these red flags and knowing good and well we shouldn't be with this person because it's right here in our face that we shouldn't be with this person, or thinking that, oh, he just did it to her, he won't do it to me. And we find ourselves in these situations. But I still think the common denominator in all of these scenarios is the man. I feel like the man is the common denominator because if they didn't cheat, we wouldn't go through a lot of the things that we go through. If they didn't misuse and abuse us, we wouldn't have the experiences that we've had. I feel like if they heal their trauma, if they heal the baggage that they're coming into, and take the time to heal before you jump from one relationship to the next. If we look at Martell, and even though we know that these relationships, most of them weren't real, with him and Mel when they were going through their divorce, look at all the women, all the relationships he ended up in after. And she's yet to come forward with the man. You know what I'm saying? Not saying she ain't got one, because I would have one if I was her. But just looking at all the public relationships that he popped up with, the Sheree and the Belinda, the chick in Texas, Houston, the Bird, and you just looking at all of these different men move quick. They have to, because they can't live with themselves. They are creatures who feel like they have to attach on to another supply. When one woman leaves, they go immediately into another relationship, and we're not the ones who even broke the bond of the relationship. But for us, we take time to heal. It takes us a couple years before we get back into the mindset of wanting to date again and move into relationships and stuff like that. But the man can misuse, abuse you. We end the relationship and he's on to the next relationship, the next week. That's just how fast they recycle their women. And I feel like it's all due to this childhood trauma that they all go with, and they just bring baggage from one relationship to the next.
Right. It's also about priorities. Mel's priority when leaving her marriage was to establish a life for her kids so that they could continue and living how they were before the marriage was dissolved. Martell's priority has just been getting a new woman, and we can see the results of them having different priorities. Mel is over here winning. She's, a millionaire once again. And Martell is struggling in and out of those relationships, not knowing what to do with himself.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even pay, for food for his kids all the time. He's always moving. He doesn't even have a permanent place to live. The Bird says that they're living together now. It's
She
like,
did look to be in a different place when she was on live last week.
yeah, she said they live together.
Mm.
But, in court documents, Melody said that he's from place to place. So apparently they've only recently been living together.
And I believe it. And that's the crazy thing, too. When you look at how many times they've been in and out of court, look how many times he's had to change addresses. Look
Right.
how many times, like, he's so unstable. I don't even understand why the courts wouldn't say, you know what, we're going to give her full custody until you can actually get a job, get a stable place to live, and you have to be in this place at least 3 years or so before you can get back to having joint custody of these kids, because he has no stability. Like, and I don't understand why the courts don't see that this man has changed addresses umpteen times since they've been going through this divorce, and here Mel is in the same place she's had residence since the divorce, outside of when she first moved out. But she's been in the same place. Like, there's no stability when it comes to him.
Right, because her priority is work, and his priority is what? Chasing tail. And you
That's
can
true.
see it in the results of their work. Like, he can't, he doesn't have good business sense. He can't, be the type of entrepreneur that she is, because, like I said earlier in the chat, while she was building her skills, he was out there roaming the streets and, at the gym with coleslaw. And so what do you expect if you haven't been, if you haven't been doing your job, if you haven't been focusing on your craft, then how do you expect for it to pay off for you? Mel has been doing her thing with her business. That is what she's been focused on since she left him. That, and making sure that her kids are straight, that they are mentally, emotionally, and physically okay. That's not his priority.
At
His,
all.
his priority is looking good. His priority is, having a woman. He has not taken no time to work on himself, not going to therapy at all. And you can tell, like, with mothers like Marlene, who tell, these boys, suck it up, quit
Mhm.
crying, yada, yada, yada. Like you said earlier, not being able to express their emotions. They grow into these men who can't express their emotions. The only way they can express is through anger or manipulation.
Look at Martell.
Yeah. And I had one of them. Like I was with this, I mean, I really am even embarrassed to talk about this relationship. But I feel like the way that I was raised, I was conditioned to accept certain things. I allowed myself to be gaslighted in the most ridiculous of ways. I'm not, I'm not
And the
gonna.
most of us have. None of us are exempt from being. We've all been there. Trust me. And
But
some
when I,
of us have.
but listen, I mean, when I say the most ridiculous of ways, I'm talking about the most embarrassing of ways. If I could tell y'all some stuff that that I went through with my ex narcissist, y'all would be just flabbergasted. Like, what? You lying?
Look,
But
we've all had some not so good moments and some embarrassing moments when we look back on some of the things we've been through with some of the men we've been with. Oh, trust me, it's quite embarrassing.
yeah, and so it's so important that as children, we are affirmed, especially girls, that we are affirmed in ourselves and affirmed in our worth and our beauty and
Mhm,
the ideas that, you know, it don't even take beauty to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Just
mhm,
know, what your worth is. Know um, what you deserve and what you don't deserve. And for the boys that we mentioned earlier, it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad about this or that, you know.
mhm,
But you'll have a greater future, and it'll be greater later. Whether people are teasing you about your clothes or not having a dad, or whatever, you have you have a bright future ahead. We don't have a lot of that in our community. I'm glad that we are coming into um the values of mental health now in this day and age. Well, I've been in therapy for like 20 years.
but that's
So,
okay because it's not like you go one time and that's it. You go as much as you need, to go. And great points that you were mentioning about making sure we are affirming our girls and boys, because I do think that it starts at a young age to affirm them, but also to you, Bad Apple, and just anybody else that's listening, those in the chat, like Let's Be Clear said, don't beat yourself up because we've a lot of people have been through what you've been through. We've all had some moments that we've experienced some moments that we should not have gone through. We allowed ourselves to stay in situations either longer than we should have, or we walked away and then we went back knowing we shouldn't have gone back. Because a lot of times we stay because we're comfortable, we're complacent, and we stay in relationships and situations longer than we should. But we've all, it's happened to the best of us. We've all been there, we've all done that, but it's who you are now that matters most. You are at a point to where you can affirm yourself. You're in therapy, you're going to therapy, and you're doing the work. So it's different from a person saying that, oh, I went through this and I had all these experiences, but you didn't put in any work to keep yourself from going back, right? So you are going to therapy, and you be in therapy as long as you feel like you need to be in therapy, because it's your outlet. It's your outlet of getting past the trauma that you have gone through. And I feel like more of us need to be consistent in going to therapy, and more of us need to take our mental health a lot more serious than we take it, because it's just so much going on. Life is heavy in this era and in this time. It's like so much going on, especially with us as women. Like, we are responsible for so much. Our loads are so heavy. Like, not only are we taking care of children, some of us are have spouses, some of us are in and out of broken relationships, some of us working multiple jobs trying to make ends meet. Some of us are out here working jobs, having businesses, trying to build legacies for our children. For those of us who have children, trying to make sure they don't make the same mistakes we make. So, it's hard. So, if you can go to therapy, it's a good thing. You find an outlet or something that brings you peace, even though you don't go to therapy or may not have a therapist that you trust enough to go to. Find yourself some Find yourself a hobby, something that brings you peace. Like, if you like to do pottery, go take some pottery classes. Or if you like to paint, take some paint classes. Do something that you can reward yourself with, but something that brings you peace, something that you really enjoy doing. I love creating. I'm a creative. So I do stuff that brings me peace. I can shut myself off from the noise, in the world and everything that's going on. Find you something that you can do and something that keeps you busy, like Miss Wynn said, or support groups which be more affordable. Yeah. Find in your local community some women support groups. I love sisterhood. So I
Mhm.
love pulling women together. Like, I have three groups, like in real life. Like, it's not just I don't just bring up and support sisterhood on YouTube. I do that every day. Like, that's my life for real. I am a champion for sisterhood, not just any sisterhood, but women that can not only pray for you, but women that you can connect with, that y'all can just let leave the husbands and the children at home, and go do something for you, just to get away and find yourself in a space y'all can talk about stuff. And that's a relief, and that's therapeutic for me. So if you have sisterhoods that you can connect with, and support groups that y'all can link and talk about just life, and be able to release a lot of this heavy stuff, that's what therapy is for. And just being connected to the right people and find the right
Yep.
group of women. That's even more important, just having the right group of women that you can connect with. Because and you'll learn your circle, you'll learn, and some of them, it happens organically. A lot of my friends were like co-workers that we started work together, and we formed bonds that way. Or I have a book club. My book club just celebrated 15 years this year in February, almost 16 next year. So we bonded just over our love for reading books. So, find things that are therapeutic to you, and, practice keeping your peace, and practice being okay with people walking out of your life. Because everybody come and go out of your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And when doors close, let them close. That means God have another door to open for you. And whatever you need to do to keep the peace for yourself and to work on your mental health, as Bad Apple said, I'm glad she brought that up, because I don't think that's something that we do enough of. Practicing mental health, because there are a lot of people who are suffering and losing their lives behind the lack of good mental health, and having good mental stability. And a lot of times we just let these men and these relationships run us ragged. Don't let these men run you ragged and thinking they the only one that you could get or that you could have. Because trust me, when that one walk away, you can get one just as good. And be okay being by yourself. Like, your life is not built around a man and what a man can do for you. Do your own. My daddy always used to tell me, make sure you keep your credit up, get good credit, make sure you don't live above your means, make sure you always got money in the bank, and that you can take care of yourself, because a man can choose to walk out on you any day, but can you
Yep.
uphold yourself when he walks out? So, don't depend on a man to provide you the lifestyle that you wish to lead. wish to live. Get up and work. And look at Mel, she's doing it with 4 kids, so you can't say you can't do it. You can't say I can't do it because I got a kid. She has 4 kids, and that woman is like one of the hardest working women that I've seen. Like, she's always got her hand in something. She's working, and she's grinding, and she's out here trying to leave a legacy for her kids. So you can do it. If she can do it, I know I can do it. If I can do it, I know you can do it. So
Yep.
don't these men make you feel like without them that you are nothing and that you are a nobody, because we don't need them to survive. We're the prize. Recognize that you are the prize. They need us.
Right. And I believe in, like, my motto is intentional peace. You you have to always be in pursuit
Mhm.
of your peace. Be intentionally at peace. And like you were saying earlier, Pink Diva, any obstacle to your peace gotta be kicked out the way. You have to obstacles out of your way,
You have to.
or pivot around them, because they will suck you dry. There's so many peace
Oh,
vampires out here, energy vampires. I always call them peace vampires. You're
mhm.
disturbing my peace. You are draining me of my peace. And I walk away from those situations and people so fast.
You have to. I actually had a girlfriend that was like that. It's just like every interaction, like there was always something. Like, she was one of those women to where it was always something going on. She had a problem with something. It don't matter what, we could be out to eat. She had a problem with her food. It was an issue. And it was always something. And I learned that I had to separate myself from her. And I learned I separated myself from her. And I felt like a load had been lifted when I separated myself from her, because it was so draining. Like, you can't wake up and having a bad day every day. I get that we wake up and we have bad days sometimes. I get that we're human, but every day, like, you can't find something good in every day. It's always an issue. So you have to learn how to, like you say, get away from these energy vampires and these peace vampires, because they will drain you because they're miserable. So I totally agree. My name only says got to put my notifications on for this channel. Thanks, sis. Yes, turn your notifications on. Thank you all for joining. This has been a great, great topic, but I just want us to be great. I just want us as women to learn and realize that we are the prize. Don't be out here slanging and banging for these men. Let these men fight their own battles. Don't feel like you got to have a man to be doing good. I have some single friends that's living life. You hear me? They out here making their own money. They are happy. They have kids. They traveling the world. They are out here like real life bosses, and they're doing stuff with or without a man. So you don't need a man to make you feel that you are great. Feel that you're that yourself. Affirm
Right.
yourself. When you wake up in the morning, put affirmations on your mirror. Write out some little affirmations on some sticky notes. You are beautiful, you are worthy, you are loved. Put those affirmations on your mirror, so when you get up in the morning and you washing your face and brushing your teeth, read those affirmations out loud. Affirm yourself. Know
Yeah.
who you are and whose you are. Don't wait for nobody to tell you that you're beautiful. I look in the mirror and I'm like, girl, you looking good today. Like, you wearing this outfit. Talk to yourself. Affirm yourself and tell yourself that you look good. Tell yourself that you're going to have a good day. Your day is power in the tongue. It's
Yep.
power in the tongue, and what you speak is what's going to be. So you speak a good day. You speak that you're beautiful in your own life, and then you're going to live by those affirmations that you speak for yourself, and walk in your power. Hold your head up and don't hold your head down because of a man, or because of a man decided to walk out of your life or whatever. Let him walk away. You
Yeah,
still gonna be who you are regardless.
right.
Do you?
Yeah, exactly.
My name only said Marlene even said that he wasn't the first man to have an outside child, not even considering Mel's feelings. And she once called her daughter. That's absolutely true. You know, a lot of, like Bad Apple was saying, a lot of these behaviors are learned behaviors. A lot of these situations are cultural. And this is what some of us grew up. We were taught, like from some of our grandmothers and older aunts and stuff. They would say, well, man gonna be a man, and he's just a man. Well, that's not an excuse, right? We're not in the habit of excusing these men for their bad behaviors, because we're the ones that have to pick up the pieces and rebuild and start all over again. So we're not in the business of giving men passes because they're just a man. We're going to hold these men accountable. And not all men are bad men. Like, this is not a men bashing session, but for the ones that we've experienced, the ones that we've seen, hold these Negroes accountable. Like, you don't get to just walk around like you are a high valued man, but look at what you're doing. You're breaking homes, even with Martell stepping out and having a kid with Coleslaw. That's another broken home. So you're responsible for two broken homes because you haven't married that girl and done right by her. So there's two broken homes. You broke your marriage up. That's a broken home. And then you got with this chick and you still haven't made an honest woman out of her. So that's another broken home. So, we don't give you a pass over these ways. We hold you accountable. And we just need to get better as women and stop pointing the finger at the other woman. We can't point the finger more at the woman than we are the man. you know the man has to be held accountable. So we just can't put all the blame in the lady's lap for deciding to choose herself and to walk away. That's just not what we're doing over here.
But now
I
men gotta start holding each other accountable too.
I really wish they would, because that's one of the conversations that I've been having for years. Like, in my community, there are so many women's group, there are so many girls mentorship programs for teen girls and all of this, but I hardly see any for boys. And I often wonder, like, who's mentoring the boys? Like, who's teaching the boys to be boys? And that's even when it's at church. As when you go to church, you're being taught a lot on how to be women and how to be wives and how to get a husband and how to keep a husband. But who's teaching these men that this is how you be a man and this is how you be a good husband? Now, don't be abusing your wife. Don't put your hands on your wife, because she's not your child, she's your wife. And, like, who's teaching these men how to be men? I really feel like some of these high valued men need to actually start mentorship programs and start talking to these men. I know one of the local barbershops here, they have like a Men Monday, I think is the name of it, to where men gather at the barbershop and they talk about mental health, and they talk about these type of issues that are within a lot of men in the community. So they talk about these things. And I feel like there need to just be more of those conversations. I just don't think it's enough programs. It's almost when it's too late to decide that, oh, well, we're going to send you to anger management classes, or we're going to send you to this support group. Like, where are those before they do something? You know what I'm saying? Like, where are the men that can teach the boys before they grow up to be a menace to society, and they constantly getting in and out of trouble, going in and out of jail, and becoming abusive adults? Like, where are those programs? So I really wish there was a lot more programs in the community that could help. But some of these men, I feel like, are a lost cause. Like, I really feel like people like Martell, you can't tell him he have a problem. He's not willing to accept that he has a problem. He think he's okay. He think it's everybody else's fault as to why he's the way he is. So, with people like that. I mean, you can't help and save everybody. Some people are just who they are.
One thing that's happening though, and I hate to bring this up again, but the manosphere is very powerful. It has a very powerful grip on young men right now. Not just the black manosphere, but like the whole entire manosphere.
Hmm.
Um, and it's, I mean, it's very hard now to break through the message out here that the manosphere is feeding young men. And yeah, it's it's hard to
I
get
agree. I
now.
agree. And we're seeing a lot of it, like you said, especially with this whole election thing that's coming up. Like some of the comments that I've seen from some of these men are just disgusting to me as their reason to not vote. They feel like they tend to have a mentality that women are beneath them. So how dare I vote for a woman to sit in the highest seat of the world, which is the presidency. So they will choose to not vote for her for that reason. A lot of men, regardless of the color, I've seen a lot of them say that because she's a woman, she does not deserve to sit in that seat. And it's so unfortunate that, I wouldn't look at the gender. I'm looking at the lesser of the two evils. But they tend to always find a reason as to why they won't support her. And it's just so that's why us as women, we got to show up and show out for this vote. You vote for who you want to vote for, just vote. But just let our voices be heard, because a lot of the things that they are trying to do to us as women is knocking us 10 steps back, and we're trying to move forward. So let your voice be heard. Make sure you get out and vote for whoever you choose to vote for. But I'm just saddened to hear like a lot of the negative talk coming from our black men. That's so sad. um it really is.
Yeah, and and so disrespectful. Like, you wouldn't talk about your own mom like that. So what makes you say this about this lady? Like, I don't know. But like I said, there's a lot of messaging out there right now, and particularly in the black manosphere. Um, like, you were wondering where the groups are for black
Mhm.
boys. It's being discouraged. It's being discouraged for
Mhm.
men to step up for fatherless boys. It's being discouraged. It's being um ridiculed for men to step up for somebody else's kids. That's the message that is being sent right now. Don't, you know, um there's all these groups, for mentoring girls, but the groups that are for mentoring boys are being discouraged because men don't want to take responsibility or be accountable for what's going on with other people's children, other men's kids.
Mhm.
Don't dare marry a woman who's a single mom, or don't dare get involved with women who, you know, don't have fathers for their kids. It's literally being discouraged. That's why you don't see it a lot.
I agree. Hopefully we can get to a place to change that trajectory. um I know it's hard work, it's a long journey, but hopefully we can get there. um we just got to do the only thing we can do is do what we can do as women. Um you know continue to fight to let our voices be heard. Continue to train our boys up to be good, respectful young men, and to teach them how to treat women, how to, show emotion if they have to show emotion, and just being able to just love on them, and
Yeah.
um, just hold these men accountable and stop, and a lot of times we're in these relationship as a woman, and especially if I'm a current girlfriend dating a guy and seeing him going through all of these changes with his ex, at what point as the new girlfriend do you step and say, why do you bother that lady so much? Why won't you just let her live her life? Because I'm looking at you like you spend so much time worrying about your ex, you can't care about me. Like, what we have to be more careful and be more intentional, like you said, Bad Apple, about what we allow and what we accept, because a man will only do what you allow him to do. So we as women got to be more intentional about the things that we will allow men to do to us, because there's no way I would be a coleslaw. There's no way I could be sitting over there and seeing this man giving his ex hell, and then you think you gonna come back and lay up in my bed? Like, absolutely not. So we need to make sure we're being more accountable um for what we allow. And I appreciate you, Bad Apple, for being my co-host tonight, for coming up to the panel. We are 2 hours and 40 minutes in. Oh my goodness. This has been such a great topic. Ladies, I love each and every one of you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for engaging in the topic. Thanks for all of the new subscribers. I really appreciate you. I am on the road to 1K. So if you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. I really appreciate it. Share the video. And thank you for commenting and leaving comments. Everybody has some great talking points. I really loved seeing each and every one of you engaging in the topic. And this is what it's all about. We are a sisterhood. This is a place where we can come and we can share some of the experiences that we've gone through, so that we can help each other, because we've all been through some things, but just being able to talk it out and hear it from a different perspective actually helps each of us. So thank you so much. Shout out to the replay gang that will be pulling up to the table later. I appreciate you. Please make sure when you're coming in, hit the like button for me. Feel free to stop down and leave a comment, so I can see your thoughts on the video. Make sure you share it. I appreciate each and every one of you. I have some great things in store that's coming up for the channel. So I can't wait to make those announcements. The holidays are coming. It's about to get super busy with holiday season. But I appreciate each and every one of you for rocking with
Yes,
me.
I'm looking forward to
Go ahead.
I'm looking forward to seeing you post. I love you. You're so adorable. I love when you post your photos with those beautiful settings. Those are so cute. I love them. And I'm gonna
Thank
be
you.
looking forward to your holiday postings.
Thank you. I actually have some that I need to post now. I went on a little mini weekend vacation. And I have some that I haven't had a chance to post yet. So I have some more that I have to post too. But thank you. I'll definitely be posting some.
All right, and thank you for setting the table out for us tonight. And like she said, thanks guys, everybody, for pulling up to the table. I will be waiting and looking forward to the next table topic discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be posting shortly what the next topic. I have a whole list of topics. So I have some great topics. So I'll be posting what we're going to be talking about next week. So definitely stay tuned. So thank you, thank you, thank you for rocking out with me tonight, Bad Apple. I appreciate me some you. I appreciate you, Teresa. Thank you for holding it down in the chat to my sis chit chat. She had to go take an emergency call for her sister. We pray all is well. Aunt Debbie stopped by. We love you, Aunt Debbie. We hope you're doing well and on your road to recovery. Thank you to everybody that came, all of the new subscribers. My name only. Thank you, sis, for pulling up. Miss Wynn, thank you for pulling up to the table. I appreciate you. Daughter of Israel, I love me some you. Thanks for joining. Rose, thanks for being here. Let's be clear. Thank you, sis, for joining. Miss Blade, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you for being here. CC was here. Thank you, sis, for pulling up to the table. I appreciate you. Reen Bass was in the house. Thank you, sis, for joining. I appreciate you for being here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. My co-host, Bad Apple, was in the house. OG Blasian was here. Thank you so much for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. I don't want to miss anybody. Miss Wynn, I think I covered you, sis, but thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Um, God's Grace and Mercy was here. Thanks, sis, for joining. I really appreciate you. Thanks for joining. You all have a great night. I think I covered LB was here. Thank you, sis, for joining. SD was here. I appreciate you all for pulling up to the table. Babette was here. Thank you, sis, for joining. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. D was here. DG was here. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you both. Miss Blade, I think I got you, sis. Thank you so much for pulling up to the table. Mama V was in the house. Thanks for joining, sis. LB, I think I got you. Thanks so much for joining. Real Talk with Grace and Mercy. I think I got you, sis. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you all. This was a great topic. Irene was here, my Android sis. Thanks for joining, sis. LaShonda was here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you as well. Math was here. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you. S. Horton was here. Thank you, sis, for joining. Bridget J was here. I appreciate you. Brittany Janae, my sis Square Biz was here. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Let me make Feminine Leo was here. Thank you so much, sis, for joining. Daughter of Israel, I think I got you, sis, but thanks for joining. Let's be clear. I think I got you, sis. Mixie Legend was in the house. Thank you so much for pulling up to the table, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Rose, I think I got you. Miss Vaughn was here. Thank you for joining. Tia P was here. Thank you, sis, for stopping by. Philly Girl for Life was in the house. Thank you, sis, for joining. I appreciate you all. LaDawn was here. Thanks for joining, sis. Miss J was here. I appreciate you for being here, sis. Red Ann was in the house. Thank you so much, sis, for joining. Thanks for stopping by the table. My sis Jenny B was in the house. Miss J was here. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you for pulling up to the table. Pink Table Topics would not be Pink Table Topics without each of you divas for pulling up. So I appreciate you. Juan D was here. Thank you so much for joining, sis. I appreciate you. Angela Richardson was here. Thank you, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Mama V, I think I got you, sis. Thanks for joining. Let me make sure. I hate to miss anybody. Cricket was here. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. MD was here. Thank you for joining, sis. I appreciate you for being here. Eve 2 Leo was here. Thank you for joining, sis. I appreciate you for stopping by. Philly Girl for Life, I think I got you, sis. But if I didn't, thank you, sis, for stopping by. I appreciate you. Deborah Jackson was in the house. Thanks for joining, sis. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. DG, I think I got you, sis. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you did not hit the like button on your way out, make sure you do so for me. I appreciate you. And I hope each of you have a great night. I appreciate you for stopping by and rocking with Pink Table Topics tonight. Go have yourself a good night. And if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's. Have a good night. See you next week.